And welcome back, and it is the higher plus 5 a day for the 14th of March, and let's just jump straight in with the first question. So what do we have? So solve the simultaneous equations. Now you don't need to do this, but as you hopefully know, x squared plus y squared is just a circle, and then I've got x minus y minus 2 equals 0, or in other words y equals x minus 2. So that's going to be something that looks broadly like this, which means I'm going to have one solution here and one solution here. However, obviously it's algebra, not just guessing and drawing a nice picture. So let's just get the algebra done. It's a non-linear simultaneous equation, which means I'm going to rearrange the second one and then put it into the first one. So I'm going to say that x is equal to y plus 2, and then I'm going to put that into the first equation. So I've got y plus 2 squared plus y squared is equal to 10. Expand the bracket, so y squared plus 4y plus 4 plus y squared equals 10. Collect and rearrange, or collect and arrange, probably more than rearrange. That's going to give me 2y squared plus 4y minus plus 4 minus 10 is minus 6 is equal to 0, which is the same as y squared plus 2y minus 3 equals to 0. And now I can very easily spot, relatively, that that is the same as x plus 3, x minus 1. And I've written x, and of course that should be y. So let's change these to y, just to be correct. So that's going to be y, what did I say? Y plus 3, y minus 1. Now, we need to be really careful that we're linking our solutions correctly here. So I'm going to go over here again. So y is equal to minus 3 means x is equal to, well, I'm going to use this equation here. So y plus 2. So minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1, which means my first solution is minus 1 minus 3. My second solution is y is equal to 1. Again, what do we have? So x equals y plus 2. So 1 plus 2, which means that x is equal to 3. So my other solution is 3, 1. And that's my two solutions. And again, it is not a guide, it is not absolute, but minus 1, minus 3, and 3, 1, if you look at my diagram, it kind of looks like that fits on there. So I feel a bit more comfortable. Good. Next question. The graph of f of x is shown. I presume that's a graph on the right. Write down, maths code 4, you shouldn't have to do a lot of maths. Write down the value of f of minus 3. Oh, this is clever. Okay, so f of minus 3 means I put minus 3 into the equation. Just zoom in. So minus 3 into the equation gives me this value here, which is a nice round number actually, which is going to be minus 2. So it's basically saying, can you use the graph to solve the function? Find the average rate of change, gradient, of y with respect to x, so gradient of y over x, between x equals 0 and x equals 1. So what I'm going to do here is say x equals 0 and x equals 1. If x equals 0, y is equal to minus 2. Just read that straight off the graph. And if x equals 1, y is equal to 2. Again, numbers are nice numbers here. So therefore my gradient, in other words, the change between the two, is going to be 2 minus minus 2 over 1 minus 0, which is 2 minus minus 2 is 4, over 1 is 1, and so this answer is going to be 4. Good, not too bad at all. Really good understand. I'd like that question a lot. Good understanding question there. Oh, here we go. Right, I thought it was a bit easy after yesterday's marathon. Let's have a go at this one. The diagram shows a tent made from a cuboid and a pyramid. The apex of the pyramid is directly above. Now you need to know that one because it means when I draw a line across the diagonal, it means M is exactly the middle of that line. Work out the volume. Oh, it's a volume. Okay. Work out the volume of the tent. Well, the volume is going to be the volume of the cuboid plus the volume of the cone, which is going to be, well, the cuboid is 7 times 9 times 3.5, length times width times height. And the cone is going to be plus a third, because it's a third of the base times the height. So the base is 7 times 9. And the height is this 8 here minus this 3.5 here, which is 4.5. So that's going to be 4.5. Again, calculator out. So 7 times 9 times 3.5 gives me 220.5. You don't really need to do this in 2 bits, but just in case it shows on my working. And then 1 over 3 times 7 times 9 times 4.5 gives me 94.5. Add these together, so plus 220.5 And my final answer is, well, it's a nice round number. My final answer is 315, not centimetres. Read the diagram, 315 metres cubed. Good question. Not too difficult, but nice sort of layout question. This looks like trigonometry. Find the size of the angle ADE. Okay, well, I've drawn my diagonal incorrectly, so I'm going to redraw this. So A to D, I can go from A to D, and then go up to E, which actually this isn't too bad, is it? It's just within the cuboid. So A to D to E, and I need this angle here. So I'm going to be using the triangle that goes from A to D on the floor, and then goes up to E, and then this is the angle that I need. What, if anything, do I know? Well, I know E to A is 3.5. So that's 3.5. So really I just need this. And this is just the same as the diagonal of the floor. So the floor goes from 7 to 9. This is A to D. And so therefore this is going to be 7 squared plus 9 squared square rooted, which is going to be 49 plus 81. So the square root of 130, which is this one as well. So in other words, my angle, well, it's opposite and adjacent, so it's tan, is going to be tan minus 1 of the opposite 3.5 divided by the adjacent 130, and this is going to give me shift tan minus 1 at 3.5 over root 130, 17.0149, etc. In other words, I'm going to call it 17.1 degrees. We started okay, not too bad, bit of a simultaneous equation, and a really nice functions question in the middle. I like that question a lot. And then actually that, not terrible, but sort of fairly thoughtful 3D trig question at the end. As ever, usual thing, let me know how you've done. Really like to hear how you've done, and do like and subscribe. Does help the channel grow, and therefore that gives me a little bit of a smile each day, which is always a good thing. Thanks all, bye.